You've tuned in to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Tara Lynn Sell. Your access to success strategies and more to help you move onward and upward with your life. Listen in each week as they interview others who have really taken their essence to the next level and truly unpaused their life. Now here are your hosts, Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Tara Lynn Sell.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Callie Estes, and I am founder of the Addictions Academy, the Addictions Coach, and Rehab Rescue. Welcome to Unpause Your Life. This is a great podcast where we showcase people who have done something extraordinary with their life. I welcome you, and I hope you enjoy all of our guests.
On my way, found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to
You are listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes of the Addictions Coach and the Addictions Academy.
And Dr. Tara Lynn Sell, Functional Psychology Pro from drtaralyn.com.
Our guest today is Sophie Uliano, and she is a New York Times bestselling author of Gorgeously Green, and she's written 3 additional books on healthy living. She was featured on Oprah's Earth Day show, where she taught Julia Roberts and Oprah her everyday Gorgeously Green tips. Sophie created an accessible doorway for the average person to walk through to a more holistic way of life. She took green out of the yurt and into the real world. Good Housekeeping dubbed Sophie a Mary Poppins for the new millennium. Welcome, Sophie.
Hello, lovely to be here.
How are you today?
I am fantastic.
Wonderful.
Really well.
So
Love your enthusiasm.
I'm like this first thing in the morning, I have to say. It's sort of, my husband is like, oh God, dial it down. Because the moment I wake up, I'm like, I'm ready for the day now with lists of things to do. So that's me.
Let's start with that question for you. How do you get that energy in the morning? I'm not a morning person. I'm one of those crazy night people who gets her energy at like 10 o'clock at night, and then I'm up till 3 o'clock in the morning. How do you get that morning rush?
You know, I have to say it's not through caffeine, because I don't drink coffee, number one, because I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, is she drinking a lot of coffee? I think it's because it's really all boils down to self-care. So I'm really disciplined about taking care of myself. And I've got more disciplined as I've got older, because I think sometimes we think of self-care as being, going to have a massage or a pedicure or whatever. But for me, self-care is about caring for myself in the way that I would care for a child, like my daughter. Making sure that I get to bed, at a decent time. If I know that I'm getting up at 6:30, I know the amount of sleep that I'm going to need in order to wake up full of energy and vitality. I need a good 8, if not 9 hours of sleep. So really, the answer to why I have so much energy is, I would say, primarily that I'm disciplined about my self-care. With that sleep, that's how I exercise. Like already I've got up and not done a crazy exercise, but been on my rebounder, taken my dogs for a walk, done a little bit of meditation. So I do these little things that just care for my mind, my body, and my spirit, so that I feel fantastic and I feel full of energy. And I think the last part of that may be the most important thing. Probably the most important thing is sleep, and second most important thing is how I feed myself, how I nourish myself. So every morning I make a smoothie that is filled with every nutrient you can think of to give me sort of energy and life. So there's a long answer to your short question.
Well, I have a little bit more of a question about sleep, because everybody talks about getting good sleep, but how would someone go about working on getting good sleep? We know the importance of it, but how do we do it?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because as you say, and you sort of guilt yourself. And I think it's almost worse if you think, I've got to sleep, because if you have trouble sleeping, that's the worst approach. You just lie in bed feeling terrible. Here's the thing. I think it's really important to set ourselves up for success for a successful night's sleep. And for me, that means that I switch off. I don't watch anything that is too overstimulating late at night. That is a recipe for disaster for me. So, and it's very tempting as well, because I think at the end of the day, we're exhausted, we've had a stressful day, and the default is that you just kind of want to switch on the TV and just be fed in a way. But for me, it can be deceptively stimulating, and particularly if I'm watching something that isn't really sort of chill and sweet and whatever. So I switch off TV, particularly my computer and my social media, at least an hour before I go to bed. And I have a kind of wind down time where I'll have, a really nice long hot shower, maybe use some essential oils, maybe do something, spend a little bit more time on my sort of evening beauty ritual. And I use certain essential oils. I use a lot of lavender and frankincense and things like that, which really, really help with sleep. And then other little things that I do is I always drink magnesium before I go to bed. That is very helpful for me. So when I say drink it, I take I make a little magnesium tea. I find that very helpful, and sometimes I'll alternate that with a sleepy time tea. I have a DIY one that I love better than any of the ones that you can buy at the store that has got specific herbs in it, and so that's the sort of thing I do. And then finally, I give myself time. I get into bed and I read a book, and I try to make the book. I don't read on a screen because I don't want to, stimulate the pineal gland. So I read an actual book, and I try to read something that's fiction and not nonfiction, if that makes sense. Because nonfiction, because I'm such a researcher and I'm always researching as I'm a writer, that sort of stimulates that part of my brain that doesn't need to be stimulated. So I like to kick back with a really good novel. So that's what I do.
Interesting.
That's super interesting. I use a lot of essential oils myself, and also magnesium is a great natural relaxer for that type of stuff. So
yeah, it's really, a lot of people find magnesium to be an absolute game changer, actually. So I think for me, it really is. Mm-hmm. The other thing, and there's one other thing I want to throw in there, because I actually don't have too much trouble sleeping, because I think it's also because I exercise a lot during the day. So physically, I'm really, really tired. But I know some people, like my husband, has a lot of trouble going to sleep. And what he's found really useful is doing some guided meditation apps on this app called Insight Timer. So he'll just stick his earbuds in, and then he finds that to be very helpful. Because I'm aware for those listening that not everybody may find it as easy to sleep as I do, but I have lived with somebody for 18 years who finds it very hard to get to sleep because his mind is racing.
Yeah, so it's kind of setting up your good quality sleep starts right when you wake up in the morning, really.
You're so right. And I think also because I'll say, I don't know if I'm saying this word right, but the circadian rhythms, really, again, for me, because I travel quite a lot, and they get messed up if I go to England, and suddenly I'm just so aware that I have this rhythm now in my day, because I wake up quite early, and, the light is as nature intended me for me to be up at that time. You're right. You just go through the day and eating the right foods, not drinking coffee or caffeine too late in the day. And exercising is a huge part of it. It really is, because I think that through exercising throughout the day, and I just do little bursts, I'm sort of getting rid of my stress as the day goes, rather than just holding it all in until nighttime, when suddenly it's like, oh, and then the TV comes on. So it is. You just set yourself up throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. So I have a client that tells me if she watches anything on TV that's remotely, she calls it triggered, anything bad, anything negative, or like investigative discovery or some murder mystery show, she can't sleep. She's up all night. Where I'm the opposite. Yeah. I watch that stuff to fall asleep. So when it comes to sleep, I think I'm the opposite of everybody out there.
Are you the one that drinks caffeine to go to bed too?
Oh my God, I could drink caffeine and go right to sleep.
That's so funny. And, funnily enough, my husband, that's my husband and I. He loves those, Vice, whatever it is, some documentary that to me is so disturbing and would absolutely give me bad dreams. And he's the opposite. He likes to engage his brain in something that takes him on this sort of bizarre journey. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but you've touched on something that I think is so such a salient point, which is that we are all so different. So in my teaching as a wellness coach is I always start with there's not a one size fits all for anything, for diet, for beauty, for lifestyle. It just isn't. You've kind of got to work with what you've got. But I do think that a lot of women, particularly who are perimenopause, in menopause and postmenopause, tend to have more of a problem. Not necessarily getting to sleep, but staying asleep. And I see that a lot in the women that I work with.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like me lately, but that's why I'm listening intently. I'm like, I need some sleep hygiene right now.
Yeah, it is. I forgot something super duper important that is a game changer for so many women. And I say women because I work with women, is melatonin as well. And I'm a big, big fan of melatonin, not necessarily taking it all the time permanently, but to get over a sort of jag where you're just really having trouble staying asleep. Mm-hmm. I think melatonin can be absolutely life-changing for a lot of people. And I've seen it working. So I'm a great believer in it.
That's something to try. What I really love about your philosophy, Sophie, is you're like real women doing real things to really improve their life. And when I was kind of going through your book and things, I was like, this is fascinating to me because so much of self-care feels so overwhelming and so many restrictions to wellness. How do you help people reframe this so that you can set them up to succeed when there's so much information out there and it feels so overwhelming?
Well, what I do is first off, I always say, look, you got to find your sweet spot, what works for you, and walk the middle road. So I think extremes generally don't ever lead us to a good place, whether it's an extreme weight loss diet, obviously doesn't work, or extreme exercise or extreme anything. And unfortunately, we live in a culture of extremes because extremes sell, whether it's clickbait, nutritional, coconut oil is the panacea to all our ills. It's going to cure cancer, or this thing is the new whatever. And then everybody jumps on board and sort of does it a lot, and it doesn't work out well. So I'm very much about nudging my clients and myself very much towards a middle path. So it's like, just take the pressure off. First off, let's start with this. Let's start with the fact that your body has innate wisdom. Your body, you have this intuition and this wisdom. It is your sort of inner guidance system. So let's get calm, let's get quiet, and let's start listening to that. Because your body actually, when you get quiet and the noise stops, you know what to eat, and you need to listen to that guidance, and you know what to do and where to go and all of that. And I think a lot of us have become so disconnected from that in this era of internet, because it's this information age where everybody's got the information, but we haven't. Well, actually, you do. We got along quite well without all this Google information, 50 years ago or whatever. So that's the place that I start with. It's just really common sense. Let's keep it simple. Let's start with the fact that you know the answers, and you do not have to rely on 50,000 health experts necessarily to do that. And when you do rely on the health experts, choose very, very carefully and wisely from people who really hang their hat on evidence-based science, because that's what we have to stick to, again, in the sort of age of the blogosphere. So that's what I do. And then I just say, look, with wellness, start with one thing. Just one thing, because I love to use the analogy of having a wellness bank account, because we have our financial bank accounts, very important to us. We feel good if they're in if if it's secure, and very frightened if it's not. But I would counter that and say that your wellness bank account is even more important than your financial bank account. And we know that because if something happens and you suddenly get a diagnosis or somebody you know does, and suddenly that wellness bank account becomes the only thing you care about, or the only thing that's important. So I just go look at that and look at what you can deposit into that bank account today. And let's just start with one thing. So if somebody who I'm working with says, I'm just a couch potato, I can't exercise, I hate it, whatever, then maybe that's the thing that we start with. And we go, let's just start with finding a way. Maybe you do 20 minutes on a, whatever it is, Rebound or whatever. For a lot of people, the way that I start is let's start with a smoothie, because I'm a nutritionist, and that is such an easy way to get all the nutrients you need in one easy glass, basically. So maybe that's the deposit that you'll make into your wellness bank account today. And so that's how I start. Super simple. Trust yourself and start with making one deposit into your wellness bank account today.
Well, I think it's also about recognizing that you made that deposit, because I think we go through our lives so mindlessly that we don't even realize that we've made a good deposit, right?
Oh, that is such a good point. And thank you for that, because you're so right. It's acknowledging it, because we're so hard on ourselves. You're so right that we're like, oh, but I've done this. And you're right. And half the time you have to go, wait a minute, look at what you have done today. Look at the deposits that you have made. You're so right. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Of course. I look at the, you have this Get Gorgeous in 30 Days program that you have here.
Yes.
And one of them is brush your teeth. I see that every day, brush your teeth. And I'm thinking to myself, that is so simple, but often so overlooked. Like, even brushing your teeth to the point of being mindfully brushing your teeth, right?
Absolutely. And the reason why I put that at the very beginning of the daily program is because there's just a little sort of morning ritual, which is if you drink something like lemon water, or actually pretty much whatever you drink, if you have bacteria in your mouth, that's where the erosion can happen of your enamel. So it's just a really simple thing, like get up straight away. And there's lots of little tips I give. One of the things is have your yoga clothes, your workout clothes on the end of your bed, or the chair on the end of your bed. So that's the first thing that you slip into instead of your robe. Because once you're in your robe, it's hard to get out of a robe. Once you're in your yoga clothes, you're like, oh, hang on a minute. Got that on, might as well go for a walk, or might as well get on a rebounder. And then to have brush your teeth, and you're like, oh, my mouth feels great and fresh and alive. And then I'm going to have my lemon water. So it's a sort of little progression, and you build a little self-care morning ritual for yourself. And after time, very quickly, it becomes a habit. And this little ritual, instead of being, oh, this big wellness thing that I've got to do, it's like, oh, no, I just do all that automatically. That's how it works. You just build on it.
It's so interesting you said put your yoga clothes on. That's the very first thing I do is I put my gym clothes on, and I am in them all day. And if I haven't worked out at 10 o'clock at night, I'm going at 10 o'clock at night. So
Love it.
Yeah, that's sort of how I get myself motivated and have my clients do the same thing. So that's an awesome tip. Get up, get out of your robe, and get into your workout gear and get moving.
Yes. Totally. I don't even let the robe get on my body, because I have a really cozy one of those Barefoot Dreams robes. and once that's on, it's a real problem to get out of it, because it's so cozy, So that's like, that's for nighttime. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Totally with you.
I'm just writing down, get up, put workout clothes on for myself.
And it's not, I have to say, when you put them on, for me, because I have the yoga pants, like the kind of Lululemon tight style yoga pants, and it takes a bit to get them on. They're tight, these things. You know what I mean? You've got to and it's cold, and I don't look forward to that moment. I'm going to be honest, and struggling into my sports bra. That's like, takes some mechanics to kind of like squeeze in, particularly if there's straps and crisscross on the back. So all of that can take a minute, but here's the key, is I don't think too much about it. What I've always, almost like my motto in life, is just do it no matter what. No matter what, just do it. And I have to say that to myself so many times, because my experience is that through taking the action, then everything else follows. Then the mind follows. And the action literally is squeezing into the yoga pants. Then the mind, as you said, the mind follows and I'm ready to rock. And it's like that with every single thing that I do.
It does. And I'm even looking at some of the stuff in your book about taking care of your skin. And as I was reading that, I was thinking, again, obviously the skin is a large organ and we don't really pay attention to it, but there's something that feels so beautiful when I put a really lovely lotion on it, or it just feels like you're doing something for yourself that's special, but it's a daily thing, right?
Absolutely. And, I've been sort of studying and been in the kind of green beauty space for a long time now and review hundreds of products and do DIYs and all that. And so for me, I think the reason why I love it is almost like my hobby is I just love the idea that you can create a ritual for yourself as a woman with these beautiful products, whether you make them yourself or buy them, that just much like food, that is nourishing. It's going to nourish and care for your skin, and it just feels so good. You can do like your own little mini spa every day, but you can do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and again, if you do it, then your mindset will follow, right? I just did this wonderful thing for myself, and you're setting yourself up for success for the whole day.
Exactly. 100%. And even on a day, we have to look at those days, or I do, even on a day that is quote unquote a bad day, and we all had those days, when everything goes wrong and nothing goes as planned, or you get hit with a 2x4. If I can get into bed at the end of the day, and like you said earlier, in our conversation, you said, if I can just look at those 2 or 3 little things that I did for myself, those little deposits that I made in for me, that those things really make a difference. Those things add up. And so that is, whether that is I did a lovely face mask in the morning, or I flash dermaplane my face, which actually I need to do, or whether I, did my smoothie or whatever it is, I think those things add up. So you're not looking at the day, as being a wash. It's like, oh, that was an awful day and I did nothing for myself and I feel horrible. It's just like, it's so easy just to do those little things that just move the self-care needle. And as you said, in moving that self-care needle, I get to reframe how I feel about me, which is kind of important.
Yeah. And I tell my clients at the end of the day, before you go to bed, reflect on all those positive, good things that you did for yourself. Reflect on all the positivity throughout your day instead of, literally dogging yourself at the end of the day for not doing things. I'd rather sleep on that positivity than sleep on that negativity. Yeah. To set your stage again for the next morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Well, this has been very informative. Sophie, how can our listeners find you?
Well, they can go to my Facebook, which is Sophie Uliano, Uliano. That's the name of all my social media and my blog. But I say Facebook because I'm very active on Facebook, and I do live streams where I can answer questions 3 times a week. So that's where they can find me. And also, I have a wellness weekend retreat in LA coming up 9th, 10th of June, if I may just plug that for a second, because it's going to be a beautiful opportunity for women. It's just for women out there to completely press the reset button on their wellness and learn about everything that we're talking about and really drill down into nutrition and meditation and yoga and all these beautiful self-care practices.
When is that again? I'm going to be out in LA on the 3rd to the 7th, I think. When is your retreat? I might
stay another couple of days. It's a night. It's a weekend. It's the 9th and 10th, and I made it a weekend so that women that you don't have to take time off work. You can come for 1 day or 2 days, and I would love it if you would come. So the beautiful Line Hotel in LA, and it's going to be I think it's going to be a pretty life-changing weekend for everybody who attends. We've spent a year putting it together, and it's going to be pretty special.
Oh, it sounds fantastic.
I'd love it.
I'm thinking, shoot, I'm going to leave LA on the 4th.
Oh, no, you have to come back. Oh.
Clearly, we did not plan this well. Anyway.
No. But oh, that's a shame because I would have loved to have met you and given you a big
Right.
hug. But yeah, anyway. But anyway, we still have a few tickets available, and so that and the little you can maybe put in your show notes, but the how people would find out about that, listeners, is to go to sophieuliano.com/G4GLA because the weekend is called Gorgeous for Good.
Oh, wonderful. Perfect. We'll put that in the episode.
Thank you.
And we'll get everything up with all your links and everything so everybody can access you and see you. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And it's been an absolute joy to talk to like-minded women. And I wish that I could magic you both to LA for that weekend. I really do.
Man.
We'll have to see what we can do for next time.
Perfect. It was nice meeting you, Sophie.
Yes, same with you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you again. Sophie Uliano, everybody. Thank you for coming on Unpause Your Life with Dr. Kelly Estes and Dr. Tara Linsell. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Head on over to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and leave a comment or review of what you think. Or contact us at 1-800-706-0318. If you want to be on our show, feel free to email or call. And if you have a topic, feel free to email or call as well.
Thanks for listening to Unpause Your Life. For show notes and more, head on over to unpauseyourlife.com.
Big shout out to recoveryinnovators.com for help producing this show. Thank you, guys.
I took a walk down the long road where they said that I shouldn't go. On my way found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape in love with my pain. I may be weak, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. I took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of flying. Now I'm so far from solid ground. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape in love with my pain. I may be weak, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate.